game was unbeaten. A draw to yesterday Southampton was very good enough. And what's the future hold for Tottenham Hotspur in 2022? Can we continue with the run, or will we finally win an away game at Watford on New Year's Day? Thank you for watching and welcome to Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Hi, good morning and welcome to Tottenham Tantrum Gold with me, Dermot, at Tottenham Tantrum, with three other genuine Spurs fans. Next to me is a man who looks like Mr. Cluedo. You think he was in the Pink Panther with his Chinese friend in the corner. He is my mate and your mate, Kuva99. How are you, Kuv?
Good this morning, thanks, mate. Just feeling of being robbed.
Down below me is the detective who's going to sort out this mess. He's not Matt Letizier's brother. He's not anyone. He's like Barnaby out of Midsommar's Murders. That's what he looks like. He's my mate, and he's the man who will get to any show. It's my mate, Phil Littis. How are you, Phil?
Yeah, still raging after yesterday. That was shocking decisions, and a lack of creativity has really let us down, I would say.
And lastly, he's the hard man of the group. You just send him in, and he'll start a riot anyway. He is the head of the Tottenham Tantrum Year Army. You send him in, you find Levy, and he would have him up against the wall and spending 300 million within half an hour. He is the businessman of Tottenham. He is the man that makes the coffee. He's Ben Kaufman. Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Fuming. It's a day to forget, unfortunately, but at least we're going to have fun this morning.
Oh, yeah. And what did he say to that, Kuth?
We're going to have fun this morning. Well, I don't know. We could just rage all morning, couldn't we?
What's that?
Tottenham Tantrum. Put the tantrum back into it this morning.
Yeah. I thought you were going to do that. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm getting too scared of the amount of vodka you're knocking back, mate.
Yeah, this early in the morning.
After watching that just yesterday, you need it.
Haven't stopped since.
Right, Kuth, do you want to read out these messages for us?
Yeah, Paul Brown, morning, mate. Ari yesterday, shambolic officiating, ludicrous VAR decisions aside. It was a subpar first half, etc. Playing against a very defensively minded 10 for the second half, but could not close down the game. Questionable subs. Yeah, all valid talking points.
Go on, you might as well. And then he adds down the bottom there, under salary agent, formation and game plan, etc. Right, I want to answer Paul's question, so I'll start with you, Cooper. What would you say to Paul?
Sorry, should we just welcome everyone in and then go back?
Yeah.
Because that's an entire show's worth of answering.
Yeah. Good morning, the salary agent. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us again. Who else we got? We have Mark Cousins. Yes, good morning, Mark. I put something up in the Orange Hotspur last night. A picture of two policemen dragging out this man out of a wrestling WWE thing, and I put it was you and me dragging me out of Tottenham Tantrum Towers after a stream because this man was swaying all over the place. So bit of mock from Mark Cousins. Good morning, Wayne Bonner. Thank you for joining. Good morning, Adam. He's still fuming. I think most fans are. And salary agent said morning, David, Bill, and Ben. Right, shall we go back to Paul Brown? Right, start off with you. So, what do you say to Paul Brown?
Shambolic officiating, start with that one. Yeah, I mean, ref clearly. Where do you really start with this? When it looked like he got it right, VAR decided he was wrong. I didn't think he was. It leads on to the VAR decisions. I mean, is VAR ruining the game? For me, it is. It's not the first time by a mile that we've seen goals chalked off for nothing. You know, the sweat on somebody's earlobe has got them offside on some occasions. We need to do something to simplify that because it's just so ridiculous at the moment. You can be stood stationary and be onside, but poke your little finger out a tiny bit and you're offside. How is that an advantage compared to it's just standing there in the first place? They got to change it. It's the offside decisions currently negate this talk about the clear and obvious errors, and it's just ruining things. Perfectly legitimate goals being chalked off all the time, not just for us, but in general. It's worse for the game, less excitement for the fans, and the fact you have to wait to celebrate a goal is just bloody ridiculous. Ruins the moment. What else we've got? We've got so much more on the question. I mean, subpar first half. Yeah, we played poorly. I know that there's a lot of Højbjerg fans out there, and even Dele Alli fans, but I thought they were both shocking. I think I'd actually say that's possibly Højbjerg's worst game in a Spurs shirt. He was so far off the ball all the time.
I mean, he was that uninfluential. The Saints fans, they were booing him at the start. After about 20 minutes, they didn't even bother. You think Judas got booed for the second he touched the ball till when he walked off. But literally 20 minutes in, if Højbjerg got the ball, they were just like, do you know what, you can have him, he's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Did he get the ball? I don't even remember him touching it. It's just non-existent. Shadow of the player he was that even last season. Dele Alli, oh God, back to the usual.
He's useless.
It just, I mean, if you gave him a 4 out of 10, it was generous. He was just pointless. Substitutions. Yeah, that was a strange one, wasn't it? Watching Doherty come on the left wing and then Hill going over on the right. You would have thought the moment Hill comes on, surely you'd swap them over. Yeah. Presumably, there's some sort of reason for it. Perhaps to get them on their favoured foot for shooting. To start raining the shots in when they're on opposite sides. But that was a strange one.
What was that touch from Doherty where, I can't remember what it was, but the ball came over and he probably should have squared it. And it was like he just booted it up in the air. I'm like looking at it going, have I just seen this? Is this like trick shot 5? Do you know the one I mean?
The chip over the top.
Yeah. The guy is a shocking player. Awful.
Yeah. I made the joke at the time that you could see the Conte improvements on players because last season Doherty he would have got that clean out of the stadium, but just about kept it in this time. Go on,
you leave my Doherty alone. You leave the Irish players alone.
Do you think
if you think you're putting him in a team and we're going to be challenging and winning things, then our channel's finished. Because that guy's winning nothing other than the worst player of the season.
I will get a word in once Captain Phil finishes. He played better than Dele Alli.
I'm finishing off there, aren't I? We'll do my piece, then we'll just cut the stream, won't we?
He did better than Dele Alli.
That's not saying a lot, though.
That's nothing.
No, I thought he did quite well when he came on. I actually thought he had a goal disallowed. It was a marked improvement for how he has been playing.
Wasn't his goal, though, was it?
No, but he wasn't the best player on the pitch. I grant you that. But he did better than most. At least he tried. At least he's the only one to come out and say he's been playing bad. The rest of them haven't even got the guts to say that. At least he had the guts to come out and say he's been playing bad. So
but it was so obvious what he was going to do, because every time he got the ball, he shimmied one way, passed inside, and it went all the way down to the right wing. And if we couldn't get an option there, it went all the way back across the Doherty, like a long, just awful.
Yeah, so questionable subs. Yeah, the use of them was more questionable. Like if Hill had been on the left and Doherty on the right, I could have seen that. Some sort of a reasonable use of them, but it was strange. And then the other part was two parts to look at it. As Phil said, we weren't creating enough, and that's the overall issue. Yeah, you could certainly say that. But the other bit that is being overlooked a little bit is Southampton defended magnificently. That is a big part of it as well. It was the sort of heroic rear guard performance you'd be proud of if it was your own team. So it's summed up by our old player Walker Peters taking one full on in the face with right spin drive was from Ben Davis, wasn't it? Doing his usual.
Yeah, that's one question I want to ask you too. Actually, the goal. Did you see Ben Davis turn away from the ball? He literally just
Dyer.
And Dyer. That's what I meant. Dyer turn away from the ball. What's your reaction to that? And I'll start with Phil first.
If your heart and soul's in it, you put your body on the line, like Walker Peters did. It's like, that ball's not getting past me. I don't care where it hits me. We don't do that. But we did come across what I call very soft yesterday. Every time there was a shoulder barge or a challenge, it's arms up to the air. It's appealing for the referee. I mean, even the one with the Dyer mistake, the guy's miskicked it, and he's already putting his hands up to the referee as if to say, "Oh, let me off for that." There's no heart and soul with that.
And then he nearly gave it away at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, that's the one I meant. He went to play the back pass, missed it. The Chelsea striker got in there, and Dyer's already appealing, saying, "Oh, come on, I was fouled." It was shocking from start to finish yesterday.
When are we ever going to learn that we've got dopey arsehole fans? Seriously,
Chelsea on the mind already there, Phil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Chelsea
the striker that came on, he was a Chelsea player. He's on loan from Chelsea.
Mm.
And he could have won it for them. Can you imagine that?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Sanchez stepped in there. I mean, whoa.
Just a little bit of
simmering here, right? When you're ready to get off on one.
Hang on, just a little bit of breaking news to cheer us all up. Mikel Arteta will miss the Gunners match against Man City on New Year's Day after testing positive for COVID-19.
I was hoping there you were going to say Frank Kessie signed or something very exciting.
I just thought I'd bring that in just for something, just for a bit of.
Should
we go to Ben? I'm sure Ben's. Like I said, I think he's been simmering for a little while.
Ben reminds me.
I'll leave the comment up, Ben, because it's probably going to play right into your hands. But
Ben reminds me of Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory. You can see him twitching.
Yeah, but it's just that I'm just seething at the referee. We wouldn't even be talking about this had the referee not even got it right to begin with. Those decisions are so shambolically bad. Yeah, we can talk about tactics and the substitution.
It wasn't the referee though, Ben. It was VAR.
It's the VAR. And that's the whole point of it. The Doherty goal was a clear goal. Like, it was. I didn't say it. I said Doherty. I said it properly for once. It was a clear goal. It's like he blew it before he even went up and challenged him. And if the ball went in the back of the net. So the VAR should look at it and think, let's have a look at it. But because he already blew before, and the goalkeeper attacked him, it wasn't the other way around. It wasn't Doherty going at the goalkeeper. It was the other way around.
Can someone explain to me what is the point? The principal point of VAR is to correct any decision. So if the referee makes a decision, gets it wrong, why don't VAR look at it? Because they questioned the Kane goal because the referee went, "That's a goal." VAR looked at it and went, "No, it's offside." So why didn't they apply the same thing to the own goal?
It wasn't offside though.
No, but what? Yeah, that's
I know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, VAR checked to make sure the referee's decision was right. Then Southampton score an own goal, but the referee's already called it, so VAR can't look at it. So what is the point of VAR? Is it like, well, we'll only pick it when we decide?
It goes back to the point that the officiating in the country is beyond poor, and until they change the referees, we should be using UEFA and FIFA referees because they clearly have a better understanding of the game than our referees do. And we're constantly trying to have our own spin on VAR instead of going with the rest of the world's view on VAR. VAR would have given both those goals yesterday if it was in a FIFA tournament or a UEFA tournament. We didn't have a single problem with VAR during the Euros or during the World Cup. It's the people using it that is the problem with the system. It's not the system that's the problem. Technology is there to help people, not people decide what technology says isn't a goal. So the referees need to all go. They all need to be removed from their positions because they're clearly useless.
I mean, even Clattenburg said he would have given it. He didn't quite say it, but he was like, I would have had another look at that. And you know what he's saying is, I'm still a referee, I'll side with them. But actually, we've got that completely wrong.
I want to ask you a question to all three of you. Do you think referees are biased against Scotland?
No,
No,
not
I just
No.
think I think their level is, as Ben just said, is poor. I think, and you know what will be a goal, what will be ruled out as a goal yesterday on Saturday will be given, and that's the problem. Is inconsistent.
Yeah, so it's all well and good having this technology, but you still rely on a human to interpret the results of it.
Yeah.
So it's the rules. The rules clearly are stupid at the moment.
Yeah, but if you've got
It's-
somebody VAR who supports Arsenal with Chelsea and doesn't want Tottenham to win, and it goes to VAR,
They
how
take
is
that
it-
into take that into account though
Yeah.
when they pick the referee for the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
yeah. They
I mean,
wouldn't put any of
to
us
be
on
honest-
VAR for Arsenal Liverpool, would they? They would. They
I
put
would
us
give
on
Liverpool
Norwich,
every
Burnley.
decision.
To
That's
be
a
honest,
red card.
even if there had been a gooner on the VAR, I still would have had faith in their professionalism for them to do a fair job at it anyway. I think we do tend to have that in this country, I'd hope, with our sporting officials. I mean, we always used to suffer at the cricket because of it, because our umpires would be really fair, whereas we'd go to other countries and it would be famous incidents blowing up with home refereeing and home umpiring. Yeah, we've always tended to be too fair for our own good. It was the old British way, wasn't it? Perhaps different nowadays. Who knows?
But yeah, no, it was a dreadful performance. It really was by the VAR man.
My biggest anger with yesterday is you can't control that, but what you could control was we didn't create anything yesterday. Our only goal against a poor Southampton side came from a penalty. Nothing else.
I do feel bad for Harry Winks because he's had 2 assists taken off of him. Both those passes for those 2 goals, which were brilliant goals, were taken away from him. And I mean, and we'd be lauding up Harry Winks today because some of his passing yesterday was top class. His first half performance was absolutely shambolic. It was weak because he was getting swarmed by 3 players at a time most of the time because they played the game well. But he would have been man of the match had those goals gone in because all those goals were his brilliant passing.
Yeah, this Paul Brown comment, Phil's pointing out as well. The ludicrous officiating of VAR. It doesn't matter. We'll forget all of that. If we had an ounce of passion shown by Kyle Walker-Peters, it would have been a different result. I agree. This is one of the things I despise. Then I see it in our defenders all too often, turning your back on the ball. I'm old school. If I was playing, I'd do everything to get any part of me in front of that, block that goal, take it in the face, in the groin, whatever. It didn't matter. You put yourself on the line no matter what, and that's at amateur level. If I'm being paid tens of £1,000s a week to doing it, you bet your ass I'm getting something on the end of that. I mean, love him or hate him, John Terry, he was fantastic at doing that.
He was.
Remember him even to the ridiculous extreme where he's shuffling along like a caterpillar to try and get his face in the way of a shot. It was it was mad stuff. That's the way you defend it. That's what you want to see from your defender.
But you're right. Love him or hate him, he put his body on the line for Chelsea. It's like who of those 3 central defenders yesterday would have done that?
Could you say they're turning their back just in case it hits them on the arms? They say I wasn't looking at it. That's another possibility with VAR. I don't want to give them any
there was
credit.
the one, wasn't there, with Dyer where he had his arms by his side, and obviously Southampton claimed it, but he did. But he was already turning, but he had his arm right by his side. Otherwise, that would have been another risk. Could have lost it.
And you know, with Dyer especially, because he makes a point of it so often, putting his arms behind his back when he's facing somebody. So that's certainly nothing to do with the arm, that issue. That's just cowardice for me.
Right, I'm going to go through the team, and I want you lot to give you out of 10 for the whole team yesterday and their performances. I'll start 1, then I'll go around the 3 of you. All right, Luis, I'll start with you, Coop, out of 10.
Didn't really have to do a lot, so 6 maybe. Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, likewise, 6. Didn't have anything to do. Still commanding. Probably didn't have much of a chance for the goal. He was very blocked. But I don't know. The bit where I think he lets himself down, and I think it's more because of his position, is was he captaining and pushing that side to be going for the win? Because it didn't.
So,
You don't see it and you don't hear it.
No.
Whereas if you had someone in the centre of a park, and I am not saying Højbjerg, but Højbjerg or your centre back is where you need your captain. They need to be driving that.
oh, there's another quick point to be made on that actually. With Reguilon, because it looked like he was going to get himself sent off quite early, didn't it?
It looked like a man
If
possessed.
we'd had a captain who was out on the pitch, he'd be able to go over to him and say, "Look, get a grip. We need you. Put him straight."
Because
he
he
can't do that.
Again, he's yellow. What was the yellow for? That just seemed ridiculous. His foot was on the floor.
Yeah, it was the follow through. That's where he got the yellow for. He actually followed through. Me and
Yeah,
Kuzi
they
said that
know
yesterday.
they can't
How
do
do you
it.
stop the follow through?
Yeah, they just know they can't do that now. It's difficult for players, but I mean, they know the score. At least that's sort of consistent.
Right. Ben, Luis, out of 10.
I agree with Coover. He didn't really have to do anything, so it's
No.
about a 6. He didn't have to do
Okay.
anything.
Right, Royale. We'll do the defence, actually. I'll do this like in a block section. So, Royale, Coof, out of 10.
I thought it was bloody hopeless. 3. Didn't see anything.
Yeah.
No, it was just nothing adequate at best defensively. Absolutely nothing going forward.
Phil,
Yeah,
Royale.
For me, brought nothing to it. 4 at 4. I would question why, when he hasn't done much all game, he's being taken off. When you bring in on a player that's not good enough to be in this position, it says that we've got a whole heap of problems there. You know, maybe someone like Trippier is the answer just for a couple of seasons, because at least he can put a bloody cross in.
Yeah.
Ben,
I agree. 4 out of 10 at best. He's just not quick enough to play against a low block. We do need to get a right back in the region of a Max Aarons, or someone that's quick like a Lamptey, or someone that can take on their opposing fullback and beat them and then put a cross in. Because Emerson's a very good defender, but if we're not defending, it's almost pointless having him on the pitch.
And the other thing with him is this faking illness, even as a Tottenham fan, really pisses me off. Absolutely pisses me off. It's embarrassing. It is absolutely
really
embarrassing.
Makes Lamella look like a hard man sort of thing. It's really poor.
Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis and Reguilon. They're the next sort of batch, so I'll let you go through them quite quickly. What would you give them all out of 10? Sanchez, then Dyer.
I thought Sanchez had a very good game. I'd have given him at least a 7. He was solid right the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Dyer, he was great until the mess up at the end, wasn't he? And then let himself down. But how many times do we say that about Dyer? I can't let that affect his overall performance too much, though. I'd still probably give him a 6 or 7, maybe. He did okay. He's rubbish on the ball, though. They all in defence are. That's why Southampton are doing so well in the first half. You could knock them down again for that. So perhaps I could knock him down to a 5. Sanchez to a 6, because on the ball they're shocking. Can't pass it under pressure at all. Then I also got Reguilon. He had a poor game. There's no way. I absolutely love Reguilon, but when he's bad, he's bad. You can't ignore it. I probably would give him a 3 as well. He was very, very much off his game today. Yesterday, I should say. Sad, but true. Got to say it as you see it, really.
Yeah, for me it was the creativity just wasn't there. We looked fairly solid at the back. A sloppy goal to give away. I thought Sanchez was one of the best players yesterday, which tells you how bad we are, because his ball playing was poor. For me, I would. That's okay, Dan. I would give Sanchez a 7. I think Dyer a 6, and again Ben Davis a 6, but without having to go and do anything. And I think you're absolutely right with Reguilon. I thought he was shocking yesterday, and it's really frustrating that when you've got when you've got no Sessegnon, so you've got no natural player to step in. Ramos? Sorry, where's Ramos? Sergio Reguilon is just not up to it. I mean, if that was his trial yesterday and we're thinking, should we buy him, shouldn't we? There's not a chance you would. So for me, 4, because he just wasn't good enough.
It's funny you said Ramos. We could have done with him yesterday. He would have forced something to happen. Fancy him for a winner at there in their end then.
He can't get looking at PSG, can he? But
he's getting sent off too much. I think.
I was going to say. And he's been sent, I know this is sidetracked, but he's been sent off something like 20 times in his career. That means he's missed a season and a half in suspensions.
He's played a lot of seasons, though, to be fair. Yeah. I still would have loved him in his prime. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that's that one you want playing for you, not against you.
Yeah.
Should we mix this up and go to Ben? Unless you've got any further comments for the defence, do you want to?
No, that was that. You boys got it spot on.
Do you want to pick up the midfield? So let's start with Winks and Højbjerg. Let's know your views on that one.
Well, I would actually give Harry Winks an 8 because he should have won us that game if it weren't for the poor officiating. His passing in that second half was essential. He won the penalty. He put a brilliant ball in for Harry Kane, which was not offside and should have been a goal. He was spraying the ball all over the park. So on another day, we'd be saying Harry Winks was man of the match, but because of the shit officiating in this country, we haven't won that game. And Højbjerg was poor. Go back to the point of they weren't booing him, so he was a 1, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it was a 1.
Cooper and I had a little catch up last night, and for me, this is going to go against. Do you remember Alex a little while ago was telling everyone how Højbjerg was not all that? Do you know what? I don't think he is. I think if we brought in a Kessie and Weston McKenna in January, I think Højbjerg would be the sacrificial one. He'd be gone because what did he bring yesterday? I think I said it earlier. Is the Saints fans, they were booing him for the first 20 minutes and then realised there's no point. He's not doing anything and just let him get on with it. It just he's nowhere. He's so far off it. And if you think now you've only got one of them, you can only play him or Skip. Who of us is going? We'll play Højbjerg. We'll play Højbjerg. I
do think he plays. He does well against better opposition. I think he's one of those players that when he's playing when he's in the thick of things and we have big teams, he does put a foot in and he does start barking orders. But against smaller teams, we need to be a bit more progressive and have a Winks and Skippy. Skippy holding down that, but still being able to spray the ball about, and Winks being able to run about. But if we can get like a Kessié in, we can really have an engine in midfield, especially if he plays with Skip. That would be an engine of a midfield, and they would get some stuff done.
I wish we had that Papa Sarr at the moment. I think he would. I think this would be a good breakthrough season for him.
Compared the way with that Højbjerg was playing, I wish we had Papa Johns.
I was going to say Papa Smurf.
Papa Roach, you name
it. Okay.
Yeah, I've got to agree with Ben though. I thought Winks was our man of the match personally. Could argue Harry Kane maybe. I thought Kane had an excellent game.
Kane was very good.
We'll get to him in a minute. Højbjerg, it's I've been saying it for a long time. Yeah, Alex has obviously been saying it for even longer,
but he's a contrarian though. He says our best player is the worst player and our worst player is the best player. So frankly, he's probably a nice guy, but everything he says is usually wrong. So I'm not going to listen to a single word he says. But he probably said that Højbjerg was our best player yesterday. That's how much of a contrarian he is.
I know what you mean. Højbjerg, though, what a fall from grace. Because now we're looking to play football where you see how lacking he is as a footballer.
Yeah. The bit that got me, do you remember when we went in for him, and he's got 6 months left on his contract and all the big clubs around the world, who went in for him?
Exactly.
He was at Southampton for a reason. And for me, he was at Southampton because he's not good enough to be anywhere else. He's been at Bayern Munich with Pep. Pep wouldn't give him a look in. Pep doesn't often get things wrong. I won't say never, but he doesn't always get it right. And, you know, if he let him go and realised then, do you know what, this would be good, he could replace, I don't know, Fernandinho, he would have gone in and he would have got him, but he didn't.
Yeah. It's a shame, but he's just not looking the player that we were expecting. As Ben was pointing out, it's that player you want when your back's against the wall, against some of the bigger teams. If you're getting absolutely hammered at the back there, you want a Højbjerg in there because he's there to disrupt. The only trouble is now the football he's disrupting the most is ours. It passing so far off now. He's I dare say it. I mean, he could let him go. You wouldn't really notice the difference. Skip is now by far the dominant one of those two. Looking the complete footballer. If he can get his finishing as well, Skip's got everything. But yeah, that's pretty much summed up those midfield couple there, didn't it?
What about the three up front then? Let's go with those. Let's go from the worst to the best.
Well, it's debatable who's worst to best, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, should we start off with Sonny then?
Yeah.
What do you think to Sonny's performance yesterday, Ben?
Sonny was poor. Apart from getting the penalty, I would give him a 4 out of 10. He was totally it was ineffectual the entire game, which is why I would have put. I think the only place where Conte got it wrong was when we were a man up. We should have gone back to a 3-4-3 because we didn't need the extra man to hold them. We should have gone to 3-4-3, put Lucas on in his preferred position on being that right-sided number 10, and we should have swamped the midfield going forward. That's the only thing he got wrong. But Sonny was ineffectual yesterday, apart from getting the penalty. He huffed and puffed, but it just wasn't working for him.
For me, I think you're absolutely spot on. Sonny is so far off the pace at the moment. It's concerning. If we had had a Vlahovic yesterday, there was no way Sonny was starting, or he probably would have started in front of Dele. But you know, your front two would be those. I would say even yesterday, even if we had the guy from last season, Vinicius, he would have started ahead because it's Sonny's touch is off. The only touch he managed to collect, and it was exactly the same on whatever day we played Palace. His touch was off then. So whether he's just playing through it and doing, but I think a 4 out of 10 is probably about right. I can't see much more than that.
We didn't even do Dele. We need to do Dele.
Yeah, no, we'll come to him at the end because I think I have a feeling that may be the longest talking point.
Yeah.
I forgot he was playing. I genuinely did. Yeah, Sonny is a shame because we know he's a quality player, so it's only a blip in form, but it is still a blip. You can't ignore it. He was poor yesterday. His touch, his control, it was all deserting him. It's like he suddenly lost a bit of confidence in his own ability. As soon as he gets on that purple patch again, which hopefully coincides with Harry Kane starting to emerge more and more each game, we'll be flying again. We won't be so reliant on Lucas having to pull a worldie out of the hat each game. Yeah, he's just misfiring. That's all there is to it. I'd have given him probably a 4 as well. He's well off the Sonny we know. Right. Well, should we go back to Dele then?
Should we do Harry? Should we go good and then go bad?
Oh, we'll finish off.
Dele's bad. Go on then. Let's do. How you doing? You okay?
I'm coming. I wanted to come on to. I wanted to come on for the Dele thing because I really want it right. Can I just quickly
let's
give
do Harry Kane first, and then we'll come.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be our big talking point. So,
can I after Coop, can I give my 10 out of 9 out of 10 of the players, and then we'll get on to that useless crayon walking Banjaxi mock.
This is going. I sense you might not rate him too highly then.
That looks like a palm tree.
10 coming for Dele.
No, fucking minus 25,000 out of 10. Right, go on, Coop. Sorry, go on, Ben. Sorry.
So Harry Kane had given 7.9 out of 10. So he's not the man of the match, but he was up there. He was the second best player on the pitch for us. He worked hard. He got the penalty. He should have got a goal if it weren't for the officiating. He had a really solid performance, and it's great to see him with fire in his belly and start putting in quality performances. It's only a matter of time before he starts blitzing teams again. But just not the man of the match yesterday. Winksy was man of the match for me yesterday. Put some brilliant balls in the box. He should have had 2 assists, or 3 assists, in fact. All the goals, which should have been, were all caused by Winks' passing. So Kane was good, but he was not the man of the match, unfortunately.
Phil?
I'd have given Kane 8 out of 10. You know, obviously the through ball to Son. He was just there. He was trying. He looked so much fitter, which makes him a better player. And the finish for the offside goal was just sensational. So yeah, for me, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 for me as well. I totally agree with Ben. I had Winks just edging it. I thought Winks' passing throughout was outstanding. It was like the player of the old second game in a row where he's on form. Could this be the start of the, as somebody put it on another channel, the Winks Naissance? It could be turning into that very useful player again. Consistency is everything, isn't it? If he pulls that off for sort of 5 or 6 games running, we know he's back. Yeah, encouraging though. Kane, it's just growing with every game. He's getting better and better, looking more like his old self. VAR just snatching a goal from him, really. Certainly finished it well, didn't he? And another one where he was clearly offside, and it was a great finish as well on that. Yeah, it's coming together for him anyway.
Right. My 10 out of 10 for the players. Luis, 6 out of 10. Royal, 2 out of 10. Because that player cannot defend. He just keeps falling over. Thinks he's in the playground. Sanchez, 5 out of 10. Dyer, I would have given him an 8, but I have to give him a 7 because he turned his back in the goal. And he nearly gave away a goal at the end. Davis, 8 out of 10. I thought Davis played quite well, actually. I thought Davis was the best one out of the lot of them, to be fair. Reguilon, I would give 4 out of 10 because he just looked like he wanted to be sent off every 5 minutes. Holberg, I'll give 6 out of 10. Didn't do much. Winks, I would have to give 8 out of 10 and possibly man of the match because he was the only decent player on there this morning. On there yesterday. Delhi minus 2,635.42 to 1. He was useless. Son, I would give 7 out of 10, and Harry Kane, I would give him 6 out of 10. Took his goals well, but wasn't his fault. It was chalked off. As for the substitutes that come on, Doherty,
interesting there that you rate Son higher than Kane yesterday.
Well, I just felt Son did a little bit more. Though Son wasn't playing his best, I thought Son played a bit more. He had more chances than Kane. He should have tucked away. I just thought his game was a little bit better than Kane's. I thought Kane went very quiet. He wasn't in the game. Doherty, who came on, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. Wasn't brilliant, but was better than some of the dross that was out there. And Brian Gill, because we're all a believer, as our friend David Harris would say, I would actually give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he was pretty good. I thought he played very well as a right wing back, and he got some good crosses in as well. He just needs a bit more game time. But I thought he played well. And that's my marks out of 10 for the whole team. So I don't know what you guys think of my out of 10.
I think you've been a bit. I think for some players you've been a bit generous, and some players you've been overly zealous.
Anyone in particular?
Harry Kane was definitely our second best player on the pitch yesterday.
And rated him lower than Son and Sanchez.
Sanchez was definitely. We all agreed that Sanchez was actually the best out of the back. He was the only one that he saved a lot.
Out of the back 5,
you know, it's everyone's opinions, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Everyone
everyone's
sees
opinion.
the game differently.
That's all right,
Um,
Dermot. You're allowed to be
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always wrong, so why break a habit of a lifetime? I think we can all agree on Delhi, though, can't we?
Yeah. Delhi,
Unless
we need to actually rate Delhi. We still haven't got to Delhi
Yeah, we
yet.
haven't got
Yeah,
to that.
we were
Go
saving
on then,
him for
Ben.
last.
Go on then, Ben.
I've given them 2 trillion out of 10. So what have you given them negatively?
I'm going to give him I don't want to. I want to give him a 0 out of 10 because he was totally anonymous the entire game, and he might as well. It was a waste that we were playing with 10 men from minute 1 until we came off. Like it was almost giving them charity how bad he was in that game. That literally offered nothing.
Can I just sorry, Ben? Sean's going to join us. He just asked, "Can he join us?" Is that all right with
Yeah,
you?
of
Trish?
course.
Yeah, let's just finish
Yeah.
the player ratings and then bring them on.
Shall I go then? Dele
Yeah.
Alli. Difficult to rate, isn't it? Anything below a 5 out of 10 will be okay because he was just disappointing to absolutely totally anonymous. Against 10 men, that's when you're looking to get your best ratings of the season because you're thinking it's your chance to play, and he just didn't take it. Absolute waste of time. I still can't wait for him to be gone in January.
Phil?
Yeah, for me, 2 out of 10, absolutely anonymous. And, you know, all the good stuff he did against Liverpool. The only thing I might give him a small bit of a defence is if he was played out right, which it looked like, instead of Mora, then he's not the right player for that. But how many runs did he make into the box? How many contributions did he make? The guy was just, as we've all seen all season, off the pace and for me, nowhere near a first team. I was shocked that he started. But I guess he's lost Bergwijn now through injury, so you know maybe needed something different. But I'd have preferred to have seen Tanguy out there rather than him, and I don't really like him.
Nah. No.
Right.
Can we just very quickly do our subs? So Brian Hill for me, yeah, probably 6 out of 10. Didn't have enough to do. Didn't have long enough to do. Doherty, awful. He went clean through, should have done better. He then went. There was one that I think we talked about it beforehand where the ball came over and he just seemed to boot it up in the air. I don't know what that was. I suppose looked defensively solid, but wasn't really under any pressure. But a 6 out of 10 at best. And I can't remember who the other one was that came on yesterday.
It was
Lucas Moura. Again,
Yeah.
Lucas Moura for me, 5 out of 10. He was played through and his touch let him down. If he'd been able to bring that under, he would have pulled that out of the bag. But again, his touch was off. So, you know, for me, him and Son were off the pace, and Kane was kind of there. And yeah, just such a frustrating afternoon. So I'll hand that back to the team.
I personally, couldn't add anything more to that. What Phil just said.
Same here. Yeah. Same here, absolutely. I just want to quickly say, star comment signed for Strong Fitzpatrick with this. Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis have all been good under Conte, but to think these boys are good enough to get us junction is clutching at straws. Is honest, so I'm honest. So that is the star comment of the show so far. See, could anyone beat that? Now we have somebody joining us who needs no introduction, really. He's the funniest man apart from Cooper on YouTube, on the Spurs family. This man is Daniel Levy's best friend. Well, we think he is.
I think he's Daniel Levy's love child, isn't he?
Yeah, he might be. We'll let him defend him. It's Sean. How are you, Sean, this morning?
I'm good, guys. How are we doing? How's everyone feeling?
Frustrated after yesterday.
Yeah.
Angry.
What was your thought about yesterday?
Listen, I think that the first thing you have to give credit where it's due. Southampton played a wonderful game. You know, they did really well. They start with energy. They traditionally like to come out of the blocks firing. They don't normally have the stamina to go 90 minutes, and they pressed really well. I think that when they went down to 10 men, you'd normally feel like that would be a benefit for any team to play against a team with one less, but that changed Southampton's style of play. The decision was then made for them to sit back and absorb. And we didn't have the creativity on the pitch. I thought the decision making from Conte, dare I say it, I don't want to criticise him, but I thought some of the substitutions, the positions that they played, the substitutions, I didn't think that Brian Hill should have come on. I thought that Ndombele was a better option. But if you did bring on Hill, I think Hill did okay when he came on. But I think that Matt Doherty should have been put onto the right. You know, like a lot of strange decisions, but it was a very frustrating game.
We all sit there thinking, as soon as Hill came on, going right, Doherty's going right, Hill's going left.
Yeah.
But I personally thought that the way that the game had panned out, to me, it felt like it was calling out for Ndombele. I'm not a fan of Ndombele, but if they're putting 9 men or 8 men behind the ball, 9 men behind the ball and the goalie, then it's difficult to break that team down. You can't use your pace against them, and we're not the most technically talented team. So I thought that Ndombele is, if you could pick anyone that can pick a pass that could be inch perfect, it's going to be Ndombele rather than Hill, in my opinion. So I didn't agree with the decision to bring on Hill, but when you do bring him on, at least put him on the right side and take, because Doherty was woeful on the left. He's so right-footed. But all in all, frustrating game. We should have won. If the referee decisions were accurate, we would have won, and then we'd be talking about it in a different vein. But I think sometimes you have to just give props to Southampton. I thought they played really well.
Yeah, I think also we shouldn't get on the players too much. I think we're guilty of that, Spurs fans, of slagging off players too much. And I think we need to trust Conte and what he's doing. He is a serial winner. Conte has won things everywhere he's gone, and I think, you know, who we to say his decision for the run yesterday. He can see a game completely different to how we all see it. He's the master tactician. He's the master achiever. So, do you know, to me, if he
still allowed to have opinions, though. You as a fan, you're entitled to think, well, I would have done it differently.
We can have any opinion on anything, can't we? But,
I
still think Sean's got a really valid point there of no matter what happened in VAR, we didn't create enough to win a game. And that was the downfall.
And that was the point I was making last night. We struggled again. I know everyone says we backed off against Palace, but we struggled against 10 men against Palace. If you look at it that way as well. Yeah. So, do you know what I mean?
Going down to 10 men, it changes the game. It means that the opposition have to sit back, and Tottenham are at their best when they counter at pace. We're a fast team, not a technically good team, in my opinion. And so when they sit back and absorb, I don't think we have the best players to break them down. Sorry, Cooper.
Yeah, you also have to look at it from the other way round as well. If it was us going down to 10 men, what would you expect from us? I'd expect us to be incredibly dogged and difficult to beat at that point. Yeah. So the fact another team does it, shouldn't come as a big shock. No. I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles, or didn't crumble, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you want to get through some of these comments, Phil? Because they seem to be stacking up here a little bit.
Open one there. Then I'll start back at the top. These are obviously related to the future. Why do we want to get in McKennie? I agree Kessie would be good, but McKennie is is a big no-no, a big troublemaker, and we've had enough of those already. That's one thing you don't want. I don't know whether that's right, so obviously I can't comment on.
I've got an answer for that in terms of the way Fabio Paratici likes to deal with transfers. He doesn't like to do the Daniel Levy of having one target and then fuck up that one target. Fabio Paratici has 10 to 15 transfers going at a single time to throw people off the scent. So he has all these transfers spread out, and then at the end of it, he goes for something we're not expecting. So with us being linked with Weston McKennie and maybe talking to Juventus for Weston McKennie, he might be throwing the scent off of another Italian player, let's say a Barella or a Kessier, just showing that the other teams...
Is that more likely to be someone like De Ligt coming in than McKennie? Because it's
that's the way Paratici deals. It's well documented that he likes to deal with 15 players at once and then choose his thing when he's signing the dotted line. So that's the reason we're looking at McKennie, and Kessié is probably the main target for that centre midfield position.
Sorry, I think I'm going to have to nip off for 10 minutes. I just heard Delict and Barella mentioned in the same sentence. I'll be back in a minute. Where's some tissues?
Too much information, Goof. Too much information.
It
I know
was
what you
for
mean.
me.
Yeah. I can see your face going red and going like your eyes going to the back of your head. And
All right,
No,
Chris
no.
picking up that Son did okay off the ball, but just taking too many touches and not being instinctive enough by
Some
trying
poor
to think with
touches
the
as
ball.
well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Skippy
a
is
very
John,
common thought there from
Yeah.
John. Danny can go.
John Fitzpatrick also said Skippy is the future.
Yeah.
As well. He says there in the comment there, big up John Fitzpatrick. Thank you all for joining in. If you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe. We're 10 away from 200, so let's get them 10 final subscribers in and get us over to 200. Let's get us there, because it will make Cooper's new year. It will make Phil's new year. It will make my new year. It will make Ben's new year. It will make everyone's new year to see Tottenham Tantrum go at 200. So let's get there. And if you want, you can donate to the channel. You don't have to. This is free to watch. But if you do donate, the Phil will put the link into the chat. And also, if you do, it goes back into the channel, so we can get better games on, because we're going to have to go and buy some of these games that you want. So the games that you want, we'll have to go out and buy, so we can only do that through donations, and also get guests on as well, and try to improve the channel for you for the 2022 and make it the best show in town.
And we can also use some special effects to blur out the name of the distillery on Dermot's water bottle.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Yes, it's now today.
Evian.
It's
Pure 100% Evian.
No, it's called Tesco Irish Spring Water. That's what it's called this morning.
Oh, well, if it's Irish spring water, we all know that's vodka.
Exactly, Bocci.
Right, John Fitzpatrick.
But
for me, the players that are Tottenham through and through, Winks, Skip, Kane, and they're more important than anyone else because they know the Tottenham way. Thoughts on that, guys?
Ooh, I can see the sort of reasoning behind it. You'd think you'd get the most effort and passion from them, but it's not always the case. I mean, there's no way I could see Sonny want to see Sonny go into another team. There's other players like it you can get that show just as much for the team. You'd argue Ben Davis has been consummate professional for us. He's never any scandals. He never rocks the boat. That's a valuable player the way he's playing now. He's become very valuable. I can sort of see the reasoning behind it though.
I don't. You guys. I was listening to you. I was listening to the other guys on a bunch of other streams. Everyone seemed to watch I was watching a different game to everybody else yesterday. I didn't think Harry Winks. I know it's important that midfielders are contributing passes in key moments of the game, and I know that Harry Winks did that well yesterday for the one or two passes, but for the rest of the game, I thought Harry Winks was very average, and you guys are giving him man of the match. The other community channels giving him man of the match. I was like, Harry Kane for me was head and shoulders the man of the match of the Tottenham 11. I thought in the first 30 minutes of the game, he picked up immediately on the Southampton press, on Salisu, or however you say his name, coming in hard behind. He was drawing fouls. He was doing nutmegs. He was doing touches that Lucas Moura would usually do and breaking. And whereas Lucas Moura would turn and run with the ball, Harry Kane's choice was to turn and pass it. And unfortunately, the passes were let down by the recipient. The first touches of Sonny, the first touches of Reguilon, some of the fouls that were coming because of it. Southampton played the press, and I thought Harry Kane learnt that, realised it, adapted to it, and benefited from it faster than any other player in the Tottenham 11. People that are saying Harry Winks was a man of the match, I respect the opinion, but it wasn't the game that I saw. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, if VAR didn't chalk off the 2 goals, which were genuine goals, he would have got 3 assists yesterday, and he got the assist for the penalty, which got the goal.
Kane would have scored both goals though, right? So you can still give Harry Kane the man of the match.
No, but he's still making the passes that score the goal.
Yeah,
and that's almost more important than getting Harry Kane's role in this team. Is not so much to be the person that adapts; it's the person that puts the ball in the back of the net. Which I'm really happy, because it means Kane is now only using his energy to score goals, which is what Harry Kane does best. And I think we've got a bit. What we're doing is we're showing that even though players have played really poorly for ages, they can still put performances in. And Winks is now showing that he can put in good performances.
So you'd keep him now, would you? You wouldn't sell him if someone came in and bid.
If someone gives us stupid money for him, I'll get rid of him and get a Kessier. But
yeah.
How much? I agree with you, Sean. For me, Harry Winks is okay. He's had a couple of good games, but there was a mistake early on where he was dithering with it on the edge of his area. I'll give him his due. He did intercept it well.
That's
but
right.
that first 25 minutes, which is where you needed to set your stall out, the guy did nothing. Him and Højbjerg, I thought, were absolutely shocking. But Winks grew into the game and got better as the game went on. Is Dermot waving? Should we all wave to Dermot? Hey, Dermot.
I'm actually waiting to come on to get my comment in here.
Right, hang on. Let me just finish ours. No, go on.
Yeah.
It's the Irish glove puppet there.
Oh, hello there.
How are you doing there? My name is...
This hand hasn't had a drink for at least 3 minutes.
Shut up down there, Colin. How are you getting on down there? Go and have your bloody pint of whiskey. Yeah, fucking need it. First, Winks, you cannot... my opinion on Winks is you cannot forget how much he's let us down in the past this season. You look at the games where he should have played well, he didn't. He hasn't performed now for this season, last season. Dele Alli the same. I want to keep that up because I think you wanted to get back to him from a comment yesterday, Cooper, on one of our shows, Great Baller. So I thought you said to me last night. I would sell Winks and I sell Dele Alli now. I don't want them at my club. They're useless. They cannot play football, and one game is not going to change my mind for all the crap games they played for us this season and last season. And if they can't be a second-rate team in Europe in a conference league where we should be winning, then there's something seriously wrong with their attitude. And that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, Dele Alli for me definitely. His performance yesterday was back to type, and I think that if Newcastle want to come in, Newcastle have got a couple of injuries now to their key players and need some creativity. So you hope that Daniel Levy is going to not blow the opportunity by being too greedy with what he wants, but you'd hope that he could also maybe negotiate an extra couple of mil. If Newcastle are interested in Dele Alli, I hope that we'd all agree one swallow doesn't make a summer. Liverpool performance aside, his time at Tottenham is over, or is overdue for his release. And if we can get 15 million, Ben, to your point, mate, a decent figure, go and put that into paying off rather than waiting for Kessier until June. Let's pay a sum now, get him in January, and Harry Winks though, Dermot. I'm happy for Harry Winks to be a squad player. But when I hear this, like he's now a starting 11 contender,
he isn't.
I'm with Phil. No. I don't think he's. For me, he's like at best he's on the bench.
Although for me at the moment, I would play him ahead of Højbjerg.
Yeah.
I would play Winks and Skip, but there's so much better out on the market that we could go and get.
I wouldn't play. I don't agree with that. I wouldn't play Skip. I wouldn't play Winks ahead of Højbjerg. I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that. I trust Højbjerg all day long over Winks.
Do you think?
But we all agree that Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skip. We're all there, but we can discuss
Skip
Højbjerg and Winks.
Skip is like
what does Højbjerg bring then to you, Dan? Because obviously you've got a different opinion to a couple of us. I just wonder what your view is on Højbjerg.
It's something Cooper said to me, and it actually rings true. He's there when you need him to get in the trenches. He's good at motivating players. You see him when we're playing bad. He's bollocking players. Excuse my language, sorry. Revving them up, saying, come on, we can do this, come on. You could see him. Like, even when we score a goal, he doesn't want to celebrate. He just wants to get back to the halfway line, start again. To me, that's what, he's not into this all razzmatazz and running around and like Dele Alli would and playing to the crowd. He wants to get back to the halfway line, start again. He's good for motivating players. He's good to have on the pitch. He leads by example. Though he may not be having the best game in the world, but can you say that about any other player that's played in European Championships? They've all been off their games.
By definition, I could do what Højbjerg does motivationally, but
but you look at Foden. He's been off his game. You look at most England players that reach that final, Denmark players, German players, they're all off their game because they've had a baby long season. Harry Kane, for example. Don't write the man off for one bad season because he had a great season last year. He was our best player in that crap team last season.
First half.
Yeah, but don't write him off. He's a better player. I don't know where everyone gets slagging Højbjerg off. He's better than Winks 10 times over. I'd rather have 10 Højbjergs than 10 Winks. Winks is useless. Winks is like a dummy playing trying to get.
Did anybody else see that just a second ago?
What?
Sean turned round and it's like he swallowed his dog whole.
Yeah.
Well, I do like. I'm a carnivore. My dog.
Winks,
my dog started
Winks
barking,
is. I'd rather have Højbjerg over Winks. Winks is useless.
We
Winks
do have
is
to give
crap.
Winks credit though for yesterday. Winks was very, very good in a creative
I'm
sense
sorry.
yesterday.
I don't agree, Ben. I'm sorry.
He would
may
have had
done
3
too good.
assists. Had those
I
goals
don't.
up in-
I can't agree with that. He may have done good for one game, but I can't get out
He
the
was good
bad
against
games
Liverpool
out.
as well.
He was
if
good
you-
against Liverpool. He was
Where
okay
was he
against
good?
West Ham, and he
No, hang on. Where was he good against the team we were playing in the Conference League? Where was he that night when we
yeah,
lost?
it's
that's
a
been
different
gone.
team.
What we're talking about
No,
yesterday.
you have to go back to the
recent
whole
form.
season.
His recent form has been good. I'm not saying that Harry Winks didn't play well yesterday. I just thought Harry Kane was for me the man of the match. But I'll take your point, Ben. Had the goals been given that should have been given, then he probably would have been the man of the match because you can't expect more than 3 assists. But I watch him when he plays alongside Højbjerg, and this is where I agree. It's a weird mixture of opinions here. But I think that Højbjerg is better than Winks. I think that Højbjerg's form this year has been terrible. And to Dermot's point, I actually think that there's some elements, and there is a lot of truth to the idea that a lot of the players that went deep into the European Championships have struggled to keep the game going in the first half of their Premier League season. And Højbjerg had a great Euros. I prefer Højbjerg to Winks, but on current form, Winks is ahead of Højbjerg. Højbjerg has been poor for a fairly long time. I'd rather keep Højbjerg. If you had to sell one, I'd rather keep Højbjerg, sell Winks. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
got a
it-
big
it
salary as
can't-
well.
Yeah.
Højbjerg. I think he's the 4th highest earner at the club. So again, he earns more than our club captain. Does he deliver more than our club captain?
No.
It highlights the frailty of our midfield to me with the
Yeah.
depth. I mean, we need signings there because
Yeah,
I
we do.
wouldn't want to keep Winks or Højbjerg. Really, I just don't think either's good enough.
Then they're not the 2 midfielders that we're sat there thinking, do you know what? Let's do a title challenge next year with a midfield of Winks and Højbjerg.
I think you'd be very silly to get rid of Højbjerg. I really do.
I would keep him. He's a very good squad player.
I'd keep him as well.
Well,
He's if we can get Kessié in, he's not starting over Kessié.
Agree. Yeah. Agree.
Kessié is Højbjerg on steroids. He's Højbjerg and skipping one player. The engine, put him.
And with that Papa Sarr coming in, we don't know what he's going to be like, but he's had rave reviews in France.
Well, so did
Right.
Ndombele, and he's in McDonald's in time.
That's a really bad analogy. But,
I just want to say sorry, Phil. It was a comment yesterday that Coover said to me after we finished our show from Craig Bowler. And I think Coover wanted to get his big up Craig as well. Thank you for that. And he says it here again very quickly. We have to give Southampton credit. I was really impressed with their mentality and commitment. They really took it to us. Even with 10 men, they played well in a 4-4-1. I mean,
that was
he
superb.
said something about the VAR goals, something about
Oh, yeah.
VAR, and I just wanted to give Coover didn't get a chance to get back to him because we finished the show. So I thought while he's in there, I thought there'd be a good chance to get your response to that yesterday and to this comment to everyone.
Well, we've already dealt with it really this morning. It's about the VAR. I mean, I said we're robbed of 2 goals because of VAR, and Craig said, well, it was offside, and Doherty jumped into the goalkeeper. Now, technically, yeah, it was offside by these rules that we're having to apply to the game. But my feeling is it's being robbed because those rules are just wrong. It's bad for football what we're currently seeing. That you can be judged offside if you stick your little finger out, but if you put your little finger in, you're onside. How ridiculous is that? It's like some invisible force field that if you just skim it, you're offside. It's absolutely ruining the game. So from that point of view, I think we're robbed of a goal there. The Doherty one is, for me, it's just overprotection of goalkeepers. Doherty's moved about 3 yards and then jumped for the ball with his arms down, which he's perfectly entitled to do. Whereas their goalkeeper has come from the near post right the way across the goal to jump out to gather the ball, and he's done it clumsily, bashed into the back of into the back of Doherty. So who's jumping into who? It's the goalkeepers get ridiculous amounts of protection, even when they're the ones messing it up. I thought it was a perfectly okay goal to myself, but we see it too often though. Goalkeepers always get the benefit of the doubt, and it's just another thing that's wrong. Because otherwise, what are we saying? You might as well have goalkeepers going out to claim everything because no matter what happens, let's free kick. You can't keep doing that. It's pointless. It almost makes it pointless crossing the ball or having aerial challenges. But anyway, there we go. Craig saying, I don't want to get Coover too excited, but we could use Ndombele as a bartering chip we get, didn't we? Yeah, if somebody wants to buy him. Juve aren't doing very well financially, and that would mean we wouldn't have to pay as much money for him. That's only if they want Ndombele. I mean, would you buy him? I wouldn't.
I mean, in terms of Juve financially, I mean, Juve's owned by Fiat, and there's no way in hell that Fiat are doing poorly, is there? Fiat are one of the richest motor companies on the world. So I think Ndombele could do very well under Massimiliano Allegri because he's played Pogba in that sort of position as well. So I reckon it could be a good trade. I think Delight is not doing well at Juventus.
He's not happy there, is he?
He's not happy. And I reckon he could do very well in a Tottenham shirt. I think it'd be a trade that would suit both parties.
God, yeah.
But in terms of Juventus being in a bad financial situation, no. The Agnelli family are one of the richest families in the world. There's no way they're doing badly money-wise.
Oh, and that's for the Højbjerg situation, saying he's a squad player. When we had Nuno in charge, I'd agree. We needed him then, but now we've got Conte. We should be aiming a lot higher than this. He's simply not good enough for somebody with Conte's aspirations because he's going to want to win the league, not just scrape in the top 4. So at some point we've got to look at replacing him. I don't think he will be good enough even as a squad player.
There's a comment in there from John for you, Dermot. You've not been fair judging Wink. Judge Wink from when Conte arrived, and if you do, you'll see he's played well, and you can see he's working his arse off to get better, and that's all we can ask.
It's a fair comment. That is a very fair comment.
Yeah, Dermot. Oh, sorry. Go on, Sean.
No. Go on, Kuba. I was just going to say that's it's a fair comment. Fair comment.
I was just going to say, but it's having to go at Dermot really a bit, but if you're going to judge him on earlier in the season, like MS Mura, for example, if you do that and you keep having that mindset, that's what they play like, then you've got to get rid of all 11 players that started that game and the substitutes as well, because they were all crap, and that includes Sonny, that includes Kane, that includes Lucas Moura. Where do you stop if you only look back at those periods of time? You've got to look at current form. At the moment, Winks is on form. The question is, can he continue it? It's got to be it's consistent. We're all talking about that.
like Tottenham fans have got a long memory. Antonio Conte has only been at the club for 3 months, and in that time, you can't really fault a Harry Winks performance, and so you have to kind of draw a line. We can forgive but not forget, but you have to kind of draw a line as a manager and say, listen, I'm going to judge you on how you play for me, and and Harry Winks has done a really good job at putting on a really good first impression for Antonio Conte. That you have to acknowledge. But Dermot, to your point, I feel the same as you. Like I don't like Harry Winks as a player for Tottenham. I'd rather we had better players in. Harry Winks, hopefully after February the 1st, we don't have to worry about whether or not Harry Winks fits into 3-4-3s or 3-5-2s. Hopefully we've got new players that have come in. Hopefully Levy's splashed the cash, done his thing really well, and we've got players that are better than Højbjerg and Harry Winks. Until then, we have to have the conversation. But I think it's a good point by John. Like, you have to judge Harry Winks on his Conte tenure, and thus far it's been okay. More than okay, it's been good.
Yeah. Again, he fits in with the same conversation as Højbjerg. At the time Nuno was here or something, if Winks was playing like this, it would have been a good thing.
Yeah.
But now we're looking at Conte here. We want to be winning the league at some point. That's what we're actually aiming at. Is Winks good enough for that? I don't think so.
No, he's not.
Sorry, I think Sean was just laughing at the truth sets you free. VAR. Victories are ruined.
Right, can I have my point on that now?
Sorry, Dermot.
Yeah. Fair play to John Fitzpatrick for coming in. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated, and thank you for all your support. We all appreciate your support, John. You've been here since the start, man. So thank you very much. I respect your opinion. I do understand where you're coming from, and I do agree with Sean when he's saying that managers do draw a line under it. And yeah, his form hasn't been that bad since Conte took over. But you look at the game yesterday, he had one game, and me and Cooper were watching it, and I think Cooper can remember it. He nearly lost the ball in our own box because he kept dithering it instead of just getting it out straight away. Now, you can't afford for players to make that sort of mistake. If that was a top striker, we would have been 1-0 down after that. You cannot have a player that keeps making mistakes. He may be playing good for 85 minutes, but it's then 5 minutes where he could make a mistake. It's like Dyer. You can have Dyer playing brilliant for 85 minutes, but like yesterday in the night in injury time,
he stops up. Probably does, doesn't he? Does play
no,
well
but the point I'm making, Winks is the same. And we need players that will play good, not for 85 minutes, but for 93, 94 minutes. And I don't think Winks will be there. And I hope Winks goes, and I hope he's a success somewhere else. But I think he's a championship player. He's not a Premier League player. That's my own opinion. Nothing against Harry Winks. Personally, I think he seems like a really nice lad, but as him, he's not a good fit for Spurs. Same as Dele Alli needs to go away and reconstruct his career somewhere else. These players get too much money too soon, and it goes to their heads, and they think they're better than they are with all their hangers-on and all their entourage and that. We need players that want to play for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, that want to lay down their life for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. As I said, the goal yesterday with Dyer, he should have put his body on the line, like that Southampton players did. You can have players in the squad that play well for 85 and then muck up then in injury time. But I do agree with you, Sean. His form has picked up a bit since Conte, but he's still not a player for me. And I will stick to that, and I apologise if that offends anyone, but that's my own opinion.
No offence.
But big up John Fitzpatrick for getting the big up John Fitzpatrick.
It's a great opinion to have, and you can back it up. I'm going to ask Ben just his comment. If you can comment to Craig's, I've left it on screen. But obviously obviously you know a little bit there about the Italian, so that would be great if you could pick that one up.
Well, who are Juventus' shirt sponsors? If you can really, it's Jeep, and who owns Jeep? Chrysler. Who owns Chrysler? Fiat. So if Juventus were really struggling with money, they would just sign a new deal with Jeep and then give themselves more money, which is what Manchester City have been doing for the last 10 years. Yes, the gate fees are quite shocking that they still haven't returned to normal really in Italy. Maybe for good reason they haven't, because Italy was really hard hit in COVID and all that nonsense. But to say that Juventus are in trouble financially, it's just not right. Inter are in trouble financially because, again, they don't own their sponsor. Juventus are the most well-prepared team in Italy, which is why they've won the league 10 years in a row, or 9 years in a row. So Juventus will be back. They just need to start buying the correct players for their team. They're just having a couple of years of having poor players. The current manager isn't really must have. I think, what's his name? Allegri's probably done as a football manager. I mean, as much as I like I really wanted him to be Tottenham manager at one point, but false accounting. That's just Italy. It's Italy in every football team in Italy is done false accounting.
No offense, Ben. Hang on, Ben, but Paratici's involved in that as well, and he's our director of football. So how does that link to us?
This is the way things are done in Italy, and Sean will back me up on this one. This is sort of those transfers like Romero's, for example. That's the one we loan them for 1 year and then we give them, it's a 6-year contract, but we loan him for 1 year. It's just the way things are done, and it's as much as the Italian Federation can really try and do this and they just want to kill Juventus. It's what they always do. They see Juventus getting everyone has an agenda against Juventus in Italy. As soon as Juventus do well, everyone's trying to demote them and put them in the lead too. Because at the end of the day, the majority of fans in Italy are AC Milan and Inter fans. And a lot of those AC Milan Inter fans are in control of the federation. And they don't like Juventus. Juventus are always hampered at every turn. There's always been an agenda against Juventus. So when Juventus were relegated whenever they were relegated, AC Milan and Inter Milan got away with far more, and they weren't relegated. Italy is the most corrupt league in the world, but it seems like Juventus always seem to get the brunt of it, and it's ridiculous.
You only have to look at Napoli, though. I mean, everybody knows they're run by the mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say it out loud in this country, but you'd probably have to watch what he's saying if you're in that area.
Did you ever see that documentary about Maradona and his time in Italy?
Yeah.
I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? That just says
literally if he didn't carry on playing for him, his next boot sponsorship would have been a concrete company.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just wanted to pay a little bit of an homage there. Ben, your knowledge of the Italian league is second to none, mate. I've not heard anybody that talks about this. Like you know a lot about what's going on. Well, at least with the certain teams, but I don't know if you know it all. It's really, really impressive, mate. Like you should, you guys should be developing this as a part of the channel. Like it's Italian. How does the Italian game? How can we take advantage of it as a Tottenham fan? It's really, really impressive stuff.
I'm lucky through my father's business things that we are good friends with Mr. Antonio Giraldo, who was the president of Juventus when the stuff went down, and I personally got to go to a lot of England games when Fabio Capello was manager.
Nice.
And I learned a lot about Italian football from Mr. Capello, and
it shows, mate. It shows. Good stuff.
It's one of the reasons I always slate the media, because the thing they did was when Capello was England manager, they were at every turn they were saying that Capello couldn't speak English, and I am telling you categorically that Fabio Capello spoke better English than most people. The reason he didn't speak English to the media is he didn't want them twisting his words. It's just like Bielsa. It's the same thing.
Oh, does Bielsa speak English, does he?
I bet he does, but he doesn't want the media twisting his words.
Yeah.
I mean, we had that with Pochettino as well, didn't we? He could speak fluent English, but he wanted to make sure it was absolutely crystal clear. So he employed the media.
Yeah, I always wonder how Bielsa. I remember hearing when Bielsa first came to England, the feedback and the way that people spoke about him. Every player that's ever played for him, in any country, that the reputation he had across Europe as being this just amazing tactician, amazing personality. Yet he didn't speak anything other than Italian. I was like, well, how do you get that personality across? if you can't speak the language of 9 out of 10 players that are in the team wherever he's played. So I always thought there was a little bit like, how does that add up? But you're probably right. Maybe he does speak English, just not well enough for him to trust the media to not twist his words. Yeah.
It goes back to my favourite story of Fabio Capello. Kieran Gibbs played for England, and he had an absolute shocker, like minus like Dele Alli level performance for England. And I was in there in the atrium because we used to meet Mr. Capello after England games, which was an absolute pleasure to do. And the first thing he saw me, and Fabio Capello stormed towards me like angry as fuck. So Kieran Gibbs is fucking shit, and it's like, what would you expect? He plays for Arsenal.
Very cool. That's mate. It's good, man. You should talk more about Italian football, man. It's I don't know anything about it, you know. So
I need to watch more Italian football because I love it.
Cool.
So for Ben and Sean, what's your reaction to Craig's comment at the bottom there? Because it's probably answering Dermot's question when he asked about Paratici and what's his involvement.
It's inflating capital gains on players where shouldn't have much to do with Paratici.
No, it's the clubs that are at fault. But AC Milan and Inter, they've done it for years, and they've never got. They always get a slap on the wrist. Juventus always get relegated. It's always the same. It's so corrupt in terms of AC Milan and Inter. They just want to change the hierarchy. They don't want Juventus to be at the top because Juventus are a club that's set up properly by the Agnelli family. They need to cut them down. Whereas AC Milan and Inter Milan are run poorly, which is why they always go bankrupt. But AC Milan have to have Berlusconi put more money into it every single year. Not anymore because they're owned by a Chinese company now. No. Berlusconi still owns AC Milan. It's Inter that's owned by the Chinese family. So it's Serie A trying to put another team on top without merit, and Juventus deserve to be at the top because they've run that football club properly. They've built an amazing stadium. They're the only team in Serie A that owns their football stadium. Imagine that. Not a single team in Serie A owns their stadium. Only one, and that's because the club's run properly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll lean to Ben's opinion. I don't know anywhere near enough about Italian football to have an opinion on the financial side of it or on any of the corruption or any of those things. So yeah. I want to step back from it, unfortunately.
Big up to True Sets 3. Absolutely great to have you in. Sorry we didn't get your comments up earlier, True Sets 3, but thank you very much for joining us again. He says, I follow all the leagues closely as well as I do a lot of arbitration investigations, and I have to. I know too much about Calgary. That's something that we will be doing. I think we'll get Ben on in the mornings and do a little bit about the Italian league, a little segment for Ben in the morning. Called Italian Ben time for about 5-10 minutes. Just give us an update.
Bengini. Hey, a Bengini.
Hey.
Yeah.
I just love Italy. I spend most of my time in Italy because I've worked for an Italian company for over 10 years. I just love Italy. I would go to Italy 10 times a year in a normal year. I just love Italy.
Nice. Yeah, mate, it's a cool thing, man. Listen, there's definitely a niche there. Like no one else is doing much of that, especially from how a fan community like Tottenham can benefit from it, identifying players, identifying whether or not there's value or risk or whatever. If you have a knowledge there, mate, that should be something you should run with, because it's certainly interesting to me. And how you just spoke was very informed and it was interesting. So keep doing it.
Well, good. Yeah, listen, thank you very much for everyone for watching this morning. We're going to wrap it up there. Phil has to shoot off somewhere, so we're going to have to wrap it up here. I want to thank all my guests this morning, all the comments in the thing, the True Sets 3, John Fitzpatrick, Golden Cock. Thank you for joining us this morning. Craig Bowler, Adam as well. Good morning, Adam. Thank you for joining us. Who else was in? Chris was in this morning. Good morning. And everyone else who's commented, please like and subscribe. We're only 10 away from 200. We'd love to get there.
The march to 200. Come on, guys.
The march for 200's on. I want to thank our guests this morning. I want to thank Sean for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on, Sean.
Always.
We'll get you on from the start next time. We'll try to get you on from the beginning, so we can have more time with you. I also want to thank my normal co-host. I go around. Cooper, where can people find you, sir? And what's your score prediction for the next Spurs game?
Next Spurs game. What, we're away to Watford next, isn't it?
Yeah.
When's that? Is that New Year's Day?
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do something on news about that. But where can people find you first?
Well, obviously here, you big donut.
I forget you're there sometimes.
Yeah, I'm so quiet, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'll be around the channels. Irish Hotspur, as we know, is our spiritual home, if you like. That's the one that inspires us. So David and Jack love their show. Also on the two Bryans on Tottenham on tour, Paxton Road, Spurs Wage on THFC rants, Will's channel.
We got a plug on Will's channel last night. We actually got a nice plug off them last night.
Where's the subscribes then? Rubbish. They can do it again better.
Yeah.
Cheers, lads. That's great stuff.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Kev. I just got to Phil quickly because he needs to pop off. So, Phil, where can people find you before you have to pop off, sir?
They'll either find me on Tottenham Tantrum Gold, which is our spiritual home, or at the local vodka factory, just getting up, Dermot's supplies.
Yeah,
getting a few shares, buying up a few shares to make a fortune off Dermot.
Yeah.
But I know Phil has to go and get some food. He's a diabetic, so he needs to get some food lesson. But top up, Phil. Thank you so much for your contribution and everything you do.
Great to have all the guests on. Brilliant show, brilliant Ben as always. And
we love you having on. Ben, where can people find you very quickly?
As always, you can find me here every morning on Tottenham Tantrum Gold. You can find me at the Coffee Company on Instagram and 8 the Broadway in Woodford for all your coffee needs. In the new year, we'll have our own YouTube channel doing coffee talks and tutorials how to make the best out of a good cup of coffee at home, which would be really fun, especially if we can get some of you boys on there to talk about coffee and how it improves your life with the caffeine it gives you in the morning. And you can find us on the Irish Hotspur as well every Monday night at 9 o'clock usually. But you can find me around mostly this area. I haven't really gone on the other channels yet. As long as if they invite me, I'll happily go on. But
you go on my channel. You've been on my channel.
I've been on Sean.
I'm just about to get to you, Sean. Plug your channel away, sir.
Oh, well,
and where can people find you?
At Spurs Talk Show is my channel. It's brand new, 69 subscribers, which is a nice little number. It'd be awesome to get to 100 anytime soon, but I'm in no rush. I'm really enjoying being a part of the community. And you can also find me on the Irish Hotspur. I've been on quite regularly recently, and I'm also going to be on We Are Tottenham TV for 3 or 4 watch-alongs in January in their studio. So that's going to be quite nerve-wracking and something new for me to experience. But I love you guys. I love your channel. And I'm more interested in helping you guys get to 200 than anything else. I love the debate yesterday. You guys had a powerful debate about Daniel Levy that I didn't need to be a part of to have somebody that was defending Daniel Levy. Big up, Ben. But Dermot, you put your side across. It was a really awesome debate, and I love your channel. Love the content. So
I never realised just on the fence there.
Just in Ben's defence, I don't think he was necessarily bigging up Daniel Levy as such.
Yes,
the
he
business
was.
side of
yes,
Daniel
he
Levy.
Was. Yes, he was.
It's rational versus irrational.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a fantastic debate. It was awesome. It was a really awesome debate. I was surprised to see Kuva also play a little bit of devil's advocate and Phil as well. So I feel like
winds Dermot up, doesn't it? So.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I absolutely love your channel, and I watch you every morning. So keep doing what you're doing. It's brilliant to see these kind of grassroots growing, and you'll have 1,000 subscribers in no time. So keep going.
I think you'll beat us to it. You're a natural, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not even interested. I really appreciate you saying Kuba, but it's not. I'm not doing it. I want to be. I like being on other people's channels. It's more
especially fun. Since you're poaching Ben now, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
You guys are all very welcome. Anytime, I'd love you guys. I don't have a partner in crime. There is nobody that I can bring on. So you guys are. I'm going to steal you individually or as groups to come on to just when I'm bored and there's no one else talking about Tottenham, that's when I'll
Give
jump
me a
on and do
shout.
something.
There
Then
is there is a
text
transfer
message.
fee here. There is a
Okay.
transfer fee you have to pay.
I want you all on individually and as a group on my show, but only when you guys aren't doing it because I'm not interested in the
Go
growth.
on,
I'm just
let's
it's
get
just
over there
about
now.
Yeah.
Let's do it now. Let's go on now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
I just want to thank everyone who's joined in this morning, and personally, I want to thank my co-hosts Kuva and Phil, and Ben as well, but especially Kuva and Phil. They've been with me since the start of this journey. This channel cannot go without these two. Ben, you've come in, you've done a fantastic job on the morning show. You're part of the morning crew. The morning shows couldn't work without you, sir. But Kuva and Ben, they put a lot of hard work into it, as well as myself, into this show, into this channel. So I want to personally thank the pair of them for all their work, all their effort to put in for the last month and a half. We're gonna end up 2021 in a place we never thought we'd end up. But by hell, 2022 is going to be one hell of a ride for this channel because the only way is up. But thank you two for all your help, all your sacrifice, and all your effort you put into it. It's very much appreciated. Just not by me, but by everyone on TTG.
Superb.
And there's only one word left I have to say. You never beat the Irish.